Greetings, lords and ladies. Viewer Dahlia Farouk commented, would like to hear your opinion in a separate vlog about the whole Pewdiepie versus T-Series thing. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ford. I spent about 5 years in India with my family. It's a long story, and I have about 700 videos telling you that story if you want to learn more about India. Our experiences there gave us some perspective lacking in many of the videos that have been made on this Pewdiepie versus T-Series topic. So I think it gives us a little bit more perspective to comment on some of this stuff. So first, India, a little background. India is truly unique on the world stage. Everyone points out its population 1.3 billion people, but that number is so big, so let me put it into context. The best way I've been able to describe it in video form before is like this. If you took the population of everything in the Western Hemisphere, all of the Americas, from Alaska through Canada, all the way through the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, and South America, you would still have less people than in India. Now take all of those people and cram them into the geographical area of less than half the continental United States. That's India. And in that tiny area, east of the Mississippi River, that's about how big India is, you have 780 unique languages. That's almost the same amount of living languages that are in the entire Western Hemisphere. As you can imagine, having that many people in that small a space, and there's a lot of geographical diversity in India too, contributing to the cultural differences and linguistic differences. You have that many people crammed into this small area. It's difficult to get along with people when you can't communicate. It is simplified somewhat by the regional languages that more people speak. It may not be someone's first language, but they can tend to speak it pretty well. There are over 20 of these regional languages that are officially recognized by the Indian Constitution, and there are 50 languages in India that have over 1 million speakers. Into such a complex linguistic world, India's entertainment industry was born. It started on the East Coast in Kolkata, which we used to call Calcutta in West Bengal, and then eventually migrated over to the West Coast when India's version of LA won out, called Bombay. That's what they used to call it back then. So they just took the Hollywood moniker, took the H off, threw the B from Bombay on it, and there you go. Voila, Bollywood. Now, as all Indians know, Bollywood does not stand for every film industry in India. We'll get to that in a minute, but just a reminder, I do know that we're not just talking about Bollywood. A lot of people talk about this T-Series thing are saying, oh, it's Bollywood videos. It's not just Bollywood videos. T-Series encompasses way more than Bollywood. So why musicals? Why do Indians love musicals so much? One of the reasons is that music is such a universal language. It makes those communication barriers, which are so many in India, more fun to navigate. And India's musical tradition is the stuff of legend. The Hindu-influenced ragas with their rhythmic and melodic complexity is something that challenges Western musicians. I still cannot wrap my brain around this stuff. It's extremely complex. I guess the best analogy I can think of is jazz. It's systematic, it's scientific. They have notes that we don't even fit on our Western scales. Intonation is just like at another level here. Then there's the Sufi Islamic musical influence that came from the Middle East. It's not my intent to talk about the religious element here, but suffice it to say that the Sufi Qawwali really had a profound influence on Bollywood. And when you hear it, go back and hear Muhammad Rafi and some of these guys who wrote these Qawwali-inspired, Sufi-inspired sorts of songs, it's hard to even explain what they are until you've heard them. And when you've heard them, I think you get it. It's just so moving. They're just really good. They're good in a different way than the Hindu-inspired ragas are. Both of them are so rich. And when you take all of that musical tradition and many others in India, and then you translate that into a film musical art form, it becomes this masala mix of stuff. And masala in India is basically just taking many different types of spices to get this nice, tangy, spicy, multifaceted sort of dish. It feels like a buffet on a plate sort of deal. And so that's what India's film industries really started to take on the characteristics of. This mixing of different kinds of cultures, sometimes working better than others. But when you come to a Bollywood movie or a South Indian film, any of these film industries that are on the bigger budget side, you're going to get dance, you're going to get love, you're going to get song, you're going to get death, you're going to get comedy, you're going to get spoof, you're going to get farce, cameo, tragedy, action, adventure, meditation, all in the same package. And this package is going to be cross-culturally extravagant and emotionally dynamic. And the music is good, okay? It's not flattery to say it. It's just good. Say what you want about the soap operatic nature of Bollywood film. Even some of the worst movies can have absolutely transcendent soundtracks. That being said, there's a lot of copycatting going on. There's a lot of derivative work, but I have been impressed with just how well Bollywood music teams or Indian music teams can approximate another culture's music and make it their own. And not just like culturally appropriate the music, which sometimes happens, but take something, an inspiration from the West or from Spain or from Cuba or whatever, and then work it into a Bollywood song. It sounds Indian, but it sounds Cuban, or it sounds Spanish, or it sounds American. It's really good music, guys. Their melodies are really rich and interesting, and they get stuck in your head. And there's not just Bollywood in India. Remember all those 50 languages with more than 1 million people? Yeah, every single one of them has their own indigenous film industry. South India has a number of giant film industries. Each region has their own movie stars, playback singers, songwriters, lyric writers, directors, and all of these can be celebrities. And most of the best are going to be featured at some point or another on one of the regional T-Series channels or the main T-Series channel. Let me give you one example of a lesser-known Indian language that does not even figure into the list of 22 languages that is outlined by India's constitution. The most spoken dialect in the Indian state of Bihar is Bhojpuri. Over 30 million people speak it, and they tend to be diehard fans of their local movies. This language, Bhojpuri, that probably people from the West have never even heard of, T-Series has an entire channel dedicated just to them. Not so many subscribers on that channel, but just take a guess how many videos are on that one channel. Over 7,000. Pewdiepie, on all of YouTube, has less than 4,000 total videos. So on the Bhojpuri T-Series channel that has less than 10 million subscribers, I think it has less than 5, they have 7,100 videos. And T-Series has over 20 channels focused on regional and topical interests that their viewers may like all over India. And any of those videos that get a lot of views, they can put on their main channel. When you count every video on every channel that T-Series has, over 70,000 videos. That's a significant portion of the music videos, movie trailers, scenes, and songs from over 20 industries. And in addition, there is a growing pop music community outside of Bollywood, a lot of it coming from Punjab. The Punjab T-Series channel has over 10 million subs, I believe. Punjabi pop and rap has been blowing up, and they will feature a lot of those on their main channel as well. They are not attached to Bollywood, like H3H3 wrongly called a Punjabi music video a Bollywood movie or something like that. It was not a Bollywood movie. It's just a Punjabi music video. Here's my premise. T-Series is not a YouTube channel. It is a music licensing company that has turned into a film production company that has as its core business facilitating the production, distribution, and licensing of music all over India. It's kind of like some weird amalgamation of a talent agency, a record company, MTV, if you remember what that is, and a licensing agency that is now making movies. There's really no analogous entity in America. It's as if the Recording Industry Association of America demanded that any artists that they represent must upload their music videos on the RIAA channel exclusively. Now imagine if Eminem and Bieber don't get to have their own YouTube channels. They have to upload on the RIAA channel. Well, right there, you have more subscribers than PewDiePie or T-Series. And that's just 2 artists. Now imagine a whole nation's worth. Now, not everyone is represented by T-Series, but there's so many playback singers, so many songwriters, so many actors that T-Series gets the rights to use their content, that it's theirs exclusively, and they get all the credit for it. Back in 2009, someone tried a similar thing in America. They were called Vivo. It was a joint venture of 3 major record companies, including Universal, Sony Music, and EMI. Even they did not have the audacity to make Lady Gaga only upload her music on their channel. There was a Lady Gaga Vivo channel they managed for her. And since Vivo has gotten destroyed, like they've actually just given up, how YouTube is letting T-Series get away with this monopoly of the credit for so many people's work is a testimony to how complicated international legalities are regarding intellectual property. If you take the combined human effort to make the 70,000 videos that T-Series takes credit for, we're talking tens of millions of people and hundreds of millions of man hours. Not an exaggeration here. And T-Series wants to call itself a YouTube channel? You want to compare tens of millions of people and hundreds of millions of man hours with the dude with the webcam, the same type that I'm using, and a mic? Really? Now, I don't blame T-Series for this situation. They've played their cards right, and they have fought back from some crazy deficits, all right? It is a true rags to riches story. Their story is pretty amazing. And the guy that has taken them there, he's gone through some crap. I mean, some really difficult stuff. So I'm not trying to just rain on T-Series parade here. That's not the point here. But T-Series being pitted against PewDiePie is a symptom of a deeper problem. And the real villain, in my opinion, is YouTube. T-Series overshadows 10,000 actual Indian YouTubers. You know, who are actually real human beings, not corporate entities, people that actually produce their own content from scratch and don't have a team of 100 people making it happen and don't need a production budget going into the millions. Channels like BB Key Vines, Naveen Richard, Kenny Sebastian, Pension Punch, Harsh Bunningwall, Trouble Seeker Team DLP, The Viral Fever, All India Bakcho, BU Nick, Amit Badna, Angry Prash, Mostly Sane, The Timeliners, The Screen Putty, Slaypoint, Dinchuk Puja. That's a joke for my Indian viewers. There are many more, but I'll make special mention of Kerry Menotti, who is similar to PewDiePie in that he does a lot of video game-based content, comedy, commentary, in the similar vein. If you want to talk about Indian YouTubers, they exist, but they're living in the shadow of these giant monolithic corporations like Z Music and T-Series. This video is a plea to YouTube. Please fix the way that you categorize content on this site. This would never have happened if 8 years ago, when actual YouTubers still had spots in the top 100 most subscribed, you had made a separate track for corporate channels. Have a budgetary limit or something. Human beings, individual YouTubers, broadcast yourself, not broadcast your giant corporate entity that is making films, videos with $350,000 or $5 million or $10 million or $100 million production budgets. That makes it prohibitive to compete. All this argument these last 10 years about net neutrality. YouTube has the opportunity to make content neutrality, to have a separate spot for actual YouTubers. It's not too hard to figure that out, Actual YouTubers, actual individuals making actually small content. It's stupid enough that people like Ryan Higa, Philip DeFranco, PewDiePie have been having to fight celebrities with production budgets and crew backing like Jimmy Kimmel, Eminem, and Tom Cruise for space on the trending top. That's dumb enough. But now you want PewDiePie, Kerry Menotti, and The Viral Fever to compete with T-Series? That's insane. So Dahlia, if you're still watching, in answer to your question, there is no story here. T-Series has already surpassed PewDiePie in terms of subscribers. Why are we even having this conversation? They have over 90 million subs when you factor in the 22 YouTube channels that they have. PewDiePie is still king of YouTube. T-Series gets the title of most subscribed monolithic corporate entity on YouTube. Great job. Like you needed another feather in your hat if you're not making enough money as it is. So a few recommendations for YouTube, T-Series, and PewDiePie. First, YouTube. If you're not going to change the way you categorize content on this website called YouTube with the tagline, broadcast yourself, just rename yourself and your tagline, License Tube. Get a law degree. T-Series. You fought back from some crazy stuff, put the Mumbai underworld in its place. It's an amazing rags to riches story. It truly is. Now, a plea from a little YouTuber, tiny. If you could find it in your heart to help some of these Indian YouTubers get a bit of the spotlight on YouTube, it might not help you initially financially, but I think it'll be a great PR move that will set you apart from the sort of monopolistic characterizations that afflict big American companies like Comcast, Disney, and our Lord and Masters, Google. You know what I think of them. And to PewDiePie, if for some crazy reason you happen to see this, why don't you take that bro fist and stick that middle finger up in the air as an act of protest to YouTube's self-defeating, corporatized, circle-jerking, rent-seeking, crony capitalist, human centipede? And you, dear viewer, if you are at all interested in YouTube, go out and find an independent YouTuber who is broadcasting themselves and no one else. If you're interested in India, I have a list of suggested channels in the description below. For the Indian viewers, if you have a favorite Indian YouTube channel, why not throw us a link in the comments below? And to YouTubers, my fellow YouTubers, it's been a hard few years because YouTube is all but abandoned, I think, the YouTuber, and in favor of giant corporate entities again. So as long as we're in this wasteland where we actually have to compete with Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and T-Series and Shah Rukh Khan and Tom Cruise and Avengers, as long as we have to compete with all those entities, I think the best strategy is just to try to get back to basics and find out what really makes us tick, I guess. The things that we really love, invigorate us, make us want to get up in the morning. The things that we're not finding. I just feel like YouTube is so, when I scroll through, I'm like, there's nothing I want to watch here. It's just not me. If this video gets 50,000 views, I'll make another one like it, answering a question in the comments below. On the off chance that actually happens, I'll pick from the top 10 most liked comments. Until next time, keep it creative, keep it cross-cultural, and keep it constructive, YouTubers, because YouTube isn't a person, and if it were, it would have sold its soul long ago. The Surfing Violinist out.